Okay, so here we are, lesson 8, your last actual part of working on the picture project. You'll have all the pictures in place and have it finished here. The only lesson left, lesson 9, will be on learning to use the title maker and create our intro title. Alright, so here we go. Let's finish this up. So we left off here. Alright, now it needs to repeat fast. Let's see what it should look like. Alright, so you can see that we go through pictures very quickly. We're actually using the same pictures that we already placed in at the end of the last lesson. And we're going to teach you a quick way, instead of having to copy and paste them in and try to find all the beats. We're going to use a little speed changes to a nested sequence in order to fix that. Your last pictures are pretty easy. Basic scale and animation motions, along with a couple of cross dissolves and a little animation at the end. Okay, so to go ahead and get all that going, let's head back over to our timeline. So these are the 8 pictures that we placed in just a little while ago for lesson 6. Alright, so we're going to take these 8. I'm going to highlight them. Just these 8. I'm going to copy this. Control C. You can also do edit copy. There's Control C. Alright, I'm going to head over into a new timeline to work with just these pictures so that I can make them go faster in time with the really fast drum beats that are about to happen here. Alright, so we need to make another timeline, a sequence. So we've copied this. I'm going to go to my keyboard and press down Control. I'm going to hold it down and hit the letter N. That brings up Control N, brings up the new sequence window where I can create a new timeline. Make sure you're in the HDV folder. I'm going to choose the 1080p 30. I'm going to leave it named what it is, sequence 4, and hit OK. So now I'm in sequence 4. I'm going to take those pictures we copied and I'm going to paste them here. Control V. You can also use edit paste. They're in here now. Now I don't have enough of these pictures. I added one paste in and it got me to 4 seconds. I want this to actually repeat itself for a while. So I'm going to paste it some more. A second paste, Control V. Third, Control V. Fourth, Control V. Fifth, Control V. Sixth, Control V. That's probably good. So now they're going to run at this pace here. Now those gaps that turn black I need to get rid of. So I'm going to zoom in and I'm going to use a new tool. It's called a track select tool. If I click on it, it's right under the mouse. It'll select an entire track and move it. Now be careful using this tool, because if I had timed these clips to some music underneath and then I move everything, it would be off, because it will move this track only, everything else stays still. So I'm going to grab this and close it. I'm going to grab this, close it, and do the same to close all my gaps that came in with that copy, paste. Okay, so there we are. Go back to my mouse, play it. So it runs, okay paste, but we're going to fix this up a little bit and have it be a little more fun. So I'm going to go back over to my timeline that I'm working on here for the music video, and we're going to actually take the pictures from sequence 4 and put them back in here, but as a one item. Here's what I mean. Go over here to your project panel and find sequence 4. It's the new sequence. For you it might be sequence 2, but it's your other sequence. It's not your sequence for your picture project. And I'm going to take that sequence, the other sequence, and I'm going to drag it in here. And there it is. Now, I'm going to zoom out a little bit and show you the other audio, because it brings audio with it. There is no audio in this sequence, but it still brings an audio track. So I'm going to click on it and right click and go up to unlink so that I can select the audio only and hit delete. Now here is the rest of the images. So it's 25 seconds worth of images. Now I'm going to speed it up so that I can get it to match. So to change the speed of any file, and this now is a file that came from here, I'm going to right click on it and I'm going to go to speed duration. Now if I change the speed higher than 100%, it'll go faster, lower, it'll go slower. Same with video clips, so you can make a slow-mo video. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to try out a couple different options. I'm going to try about 500%, 5 times faster, and hit OK. Now you can also reverse speed, which will make something go in reverse. Works better with video clips. There, I made that a lot smaller. It's 5 times faster than it was, or 5 times smaller. So now when I play it, now I need it to start at that drum beat, so everything's good there. It's also probably okay, actually. Let's go back and look at the original. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so now that we have the sequence in at 500% and it's smaller, it does get faster. The drum beats change pace about here in the middle. So we're going to have to change the speed one more time to get even faster at that part. So let's first double check and see if we like this. Oh, I need a little bit of a gap here. It's when he actually starts the faster drum beat, not at this snare right here. I'm going to say right around 5109 is really where this starts. The really fast drum beat and then the faster drum beat. Then we get a little bit of a break here. So it sounds like we need to find where the faster drum beat is now and change the speed of the second part of this clip. 500 works pretty good though for the first part. I'm going to go with I don't know, about 52 change here. I'm going to go 5217. I think that's right on. Now, I can't change the speed of this clip or it'll change this part too. So I'm going to turn this into 2 clips simply by cutting it. I'm going to grab the razor. I'm going to cut right on my line at 5217. Go back to my mouse pointer. Now I've got 2 clips at 500%. I'm going to make this one even faster. Now you have to play around with this a little bit to see how fast you really want it. I already know that the one we preset was set to 1,325%. Give an example. You know, if I go to 800, it would get faster, but how much? It's pretty good actually. But I wanted it even faster because it sounds like the drum was faster. So I'm going to go 1325. There it is. Yeah. And I need it to end just before the beat and the drop in the music. Alright, so let's just find that. I want to do it much before he comes back singing. I'm going to go with about 5315. Let's try that. So now we can work on this next part here. So I need to take one picture and move it out. And bring in another picture at the bass beat. Okay, so let's go ahead and bring that picture in. Okay, so picture I left off on was 7, so I must be on 8. Whoops. Where did 8 go? Up here. So I want this to come in at the quiet spot. Right here. 5320. Lower than your mama's ever seen it in a life. And then essentially after that bass beat, we're done with this picture. So I'm going to cut it off around 5607, which is right after this bass beat. And maybe a little bit longer. We'll adjust this as we go. Yeah, about 5622. Alright, now I need to aim it. So for me, your picture is different, but for me, I'm going to go to where I am in the top row of my class picture and start centered on me. It's me right at the top right there, next to my buddy Mark and John on the other side. I'm going to make it bigger and go line myself back up again. Now you can obviously center yours somewhere in the center of your picture. I just wanted to do this. So now that I've got my positioning, I need to set a keyframe for it and a position keyframe. I'm going to be moving it and changing its scale. Move those to the beginning. Lower than your mama's ever seen it in a life. Let's see how we're doing on this one. Lower than your mama's ever seen it in a life. Yeah, that's what I thought, right after the bass beat. So I really don't need this. I'm going to cut it back. 5606. Okay. Now let's set that second keyframe. Lower than your mama's ever seen it. So it just needs to move from here to here. So first keyframe is set. Any change I make will make an automatic keyframe. So I'm going to make it smaller. I need to also keep it centered. There's my 2 new keyframes for the 2 new changes I made. And now something, I'm trying to get my whole class in there if possible. A little bit more. Okay, I got most everybody in. These keyframes need to go to the end of the image. So here it is. Make sure they're there. Okay. Lower than your mama's ever seen it in a life. Alright, next picture comes in. I'll put it pretty much right at it, right on it. Now I want this to blend, so I need to add a cross dissolve to blend it. Cross dissolves are simple to find. Again, if you haven't made your own custom bin and put your own effects and transitions you like in, you can go find it. It's a dissolve, cross dissolve, inside of video transitions. Put it on the cut so it goes between the two. Make sure they're touching. If they're not touching, it'll only go on one or the other image, and it'll blend them. So I now need it to, is during this sound I'd like the blend to happen. It starts here, so I'm going to adjust the length of this cross dissolve back to here. I'm going to end it somewhere else. I don't know, about 5615. Now you might notice this picture stops moving because I added some extra picture to it. This cross dissolve makes pictures blend into each other. So if I want to fix that, I can go back to this previous. Notice that the keyframes are no longer at the end. Move them into the transition so that it moves the whole time now. This picture here needs to be larger, but I believe I come at myself, so I'm going to make it just fit the screen. and then I'll add a couple of keyframes to make this picture get larger.
Seen it in a light.
There's the next bass beat right there. 5810. Cut this picture off at 5810.
In a light.
Alright. I'm going to move this picture by animating it, touching it, going up to Effects Controls. I'll set the scale and position keyframes for this image. Move these keyframes to the beginning, and now I'm going to make the picture get larger and also position down a little bit so it stays somewhat on my head. I will move these keyframes out here to the end. Make sure they're at the end, and then watch it.
In a light.
Alright, next picture. I don't have any more in this folder, so I have to go to my next stage of life after high school. I think it was my first college and Disney internship days. So, first picture in. It's a prom. I went with her too. Alright, I'm going to make this picture first a little larger and whatnot to get it ready to where I want it to be. Right about there to start. Okay. Now I only need it to last to the next cross dissolve, so let's find that. During that room. So I'm going to cut it right there actually. 1 minute, 1 second flat. 1:01:00. Alright, so now I'm going to bring the next picture in first, and then I'll make the animations. And this one's going to be a little larger to start, and then I'll make this one get smaller. So I'm going to position it where I want first. A little larger. Alright, right about there. Alright, so these two pictures. Let's make this first one here move into the second one, but I need to dissolve it. So I'm going to take the cross dissolve and drop it on. And I want it to happen during this noise. So that's slower than the noise. So I need to go in and adjust the length of the dissolve. I think it's in by here. Let's shorten it. Alright, so I started it at 1:00:17, and I'm going to end it at 1:01:07. There's your cross dissolve. Alright, now I need to make motion with both pictures. I'm going to make this one move towards me as well. So I'm going to set the keyframes for its starting position that I like. Using both position and scale, I'm going to make the picture larger, but also position it so that I stay in frame, and move these keyframes to the end, all the way through the transition. Make sure it's through the end. Never is for my computer. Alright. So this is the next picture. There's my next drum beat. At 1:03:02, 1 minute, 3 seconds, 2 frames, I'm going to cut off this picture because we go to the final picture here at that beat. And of course this picture will end with the song at 1:05:29. It might even be a little bit shorter based on the way that sound was. We'll figure that out as we go. Alright, so let's do the last couple motions. This one gets bigger to larger, and then this one as well, bigger to larger. Or bigger to smaller, yeah. Keyframes made for the first picture. Move the keyframes to the beginning of the image. Make the picture shrink somewhat. I'm also going to keep it positioned. Move these keyframes to the end. check it out. And this picture is going to start bigger. Click on it, go to its motion. Let's get it positioned first. That's about good. Alright, I'm going to set my keyframes, move them to the beginning, and then this is going to gradually get smaller and then all of a sudden get real small and go down. So we are going to use position and scale for this last animation. Here we go. Right here on this last drum beat. Right there, and then we're going to set 2 more keyframes. I'm going to go with this time 1 minute 5 seconds 11 frames. I'm going to set my next keyframe by making it get a little bit smaller. I could crop the top of this picture off, but I'm going to skip on that. Now from here, I'm going to make it abruptly get much smaller and go completely down. So I also need a keyframe for this same measurement. I didn't want to change it yet, so I'm going to hit this button to make a new keyframe, but this keyframe is exactly the same as this keyframe. Now, to finish that out, I need to take and make this go to 0, but also, before I'm at 0, make sure it's going to the bottom of the screen. There. And there's the last 2 keyframes, so let's check it out. Alright, that's the end of the picture part of this. The only thing left to do is to come back to the beginning and add our title. And the title making lesson, while it seems fairly simple, and it is, has quite a bit to learn, and to be honest with you, you should pay a lot of attention to that lesson because text and titling is one of the most common elements in all video. So we'll go to that lesson number 9 next time.